Welcome to the buymeacoffee.com/James Poartistry, the coffee tips page that supports my James Poartistry creative productions and work. See also jamespoartistry.online.
Hello, Perceptive Readers. I just related a post called So Much to Write and Enjoy. And it talks about how writers today are happy or can be happy that they fully realize really the significance, okay, of being able to tell parables and also to report facts when it's necessary. Because in general, you look in the library and look how many books are in there, tons and tons of them. You have technical books, you have romance novels, you have fiction, you have sci-fi, you have all sorts of books, and certainly, again, nonfiction. It's all part of us, and it's all okay. And let me tell you why. Because this, in my humble opinion, is, you know, people have used the term a white lie, okay? And that normally means that maybe you tell somebody something about a dress or something that they have on that, that dress may be looking as crazy as I don't know what, and you still say it looks good. They'll say you told a white lie because you wanted to spare the person's feelings. Well, I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, that I never used that term white lie. You see what I'm saying? Uh, because of the simple fact, I believe there really is a distinct difference between a real lie or a lie. You see what I'm saying? Just a lie. And when you're just really showing the ways of love with other people. And I'm going to give you a scenario that I wish I could do a survey on this to know what you really think, whether you've seen situations like this or not, what I'm about to tell you. But see, that article that I just posted goes to show that you have a lot of writers who can write stories and just enjoy themselves and bring a smile to your face. And then you have others and they realize the climate of the world and the misunderstanding of different situations in the world, they will also go into maybe their other mode in their office where they're saying, look, let me get these facts out about principles, you see, and about ethics, and I can relate maybe some experience as well. So I told you that's a joy that I'm sure a lot of writers get. And according to the two greatest commandments, you see, I also believe that's all part of the spirit of what loving God and your neighbor is. We are supposed to care about one another. We are supposed to try to make one another happy. Now, that doesn't mean that that's our sole purpose, but I'm just saying it's something that should never be stripped out of us just because the love of the greater number cools all. So people who may accept, what you are offering in a good way, wonderful. If they don't, then again, you can just move on. Now, in that same vein of thought, I want you to think about this. Remember, it is adding insult to injury when persons still keep trying to withhold their wages from you. And let me tell you, that is very unloving. And it does add insult to the injury because over the years, there have been persons who have related situations that they were really even forced to do or to take care of. You may have seen situations in the Undercover Bosses episodes where some of the bosses go down to the ground or grassroots level and find employees that not only were practically being underpaid, But then in order to enjoy the job that they have, in order to keep it, they still had to take extra money out their own pockets to get things done. Yeah. And see, and some of those bosses with a conscience realize this person needs to be compensated. What they were doing, whether it's a so-called menial job or not, according to people's eyes, it was still a job of value. And any job is of value when it providing the service. I want to emphasize even the persons, what do they call the waste technicians, or what you may call garbage men or what have you? That is a valuable service that they actually offer. And to show you how valuable it is, some years ago, uh, the trash in one city or one island, so to speak, had built up so much, where they were loading it up onto a barge, and they didn't know where to go with it, where to dump it in the ocean or what have you. Something was going on there. But I tell you what, it really goes to show that when people were arguing where could all that waste and trash from the city be dumped at, people saw all those individuals who deal with that every single day, taking these items and stuff from their homes and etc. Just what a valuable service they provide, even though people don't normally even think about it. What is that? That's a service, and it's a service of value. And many of those persons, believe it or not, as they work throughout the years, they get paid nice wages, nice raises as well. You see, to compensate their loyalty, and of course, their skills are involved with even being able to pick trash up, pick trash cans up in a very timely manner. Well, guess what? Without throwing out their back, elbows, everything. Let me tell you, they are strong. They are in shape, even though you can see them looking pretty small, but they got a system down pat. What a wonderful service. And so the whole point is sometimes persons in those occupations, even there, they ask for raises. And because these supervisors of conscience and bosses of conscience realize the hard work that they really put into it, they give consideration, and some of them they do. They get raises and they get nice wages. So I'm going to say again, how much so, again, for the men and women who have also contributed to the peace in the community, to the peace in the community. You know, it's one thing, as I've stated before, uh, people may not value you, value what you do, value your service. But at the same time, I mean, they may even hate you as a person. But at the same time, we as citizens or people of a civilized land have no business to keep allowing persons who are hateful and stingy sabotage our spiritual beliefs, sabotage our laws of the land, sabotage our wages and ability to make a living. No way in the world should that be allowed. And yes, there's been systems concocted in place that the very people that fight for those type of elevated principal responsibilities and compensation and things of that nature in the land, they somehow sometimes actually get put in situations where what they're doing for their community is blocked out, blinded, and then sometimes even their work is transferred to the very person or persons who are still striving to take this world more or this city or this community into a fascist way of thinking and doing things, meaning just two classes of people. You see, it is very important. That's why when it comes to money and things of that nature and wages and whatever you do, you see, even public servants get paid. You see, on a leadership type level, their secretaries get paid very well. Their assistants get paid very well. Even persons who have done community service at times get paid, minimum wage. So, as I've stated before, it doesn't fly with the individual that the very person's talking about what you did to help this situation or community, which again, in a lot of ways, you were forced to do it no matter what, in a lot of ways. And through maneuvering, slick stuff, and all this stuff like that. But the point is, for a fact, and you can stand before God, it added more value that would amount to millions, billions, and trillions than what they would ever want you to know. Okay? Fact. Now, and yet, that individual, because of the value that they've contributed for the decades, if not primarily the last decade, they're still covering it up. And you may be the type of person that is like, you know what? All you ever had to do was just pay this person this reasonable wage. But no, you still, let me emphasize again, you turned criminal. You are functioning as a criminal, you see? And if a person is functioning in the criminal in that way, as I said before, citizens got a responsibility like, we don't use their same means because, as I told you, it does that person no good to have somebody stealing from them. And yet then you even put that person in a situation where you're just turning them into a punching bag for some other persons who to take their anger out on or what have you. But that still does nothing for the person who is still being stolen from, having their real money currency that they can buy stuff with, like I said, in a legal way. So the whole point is it adds insults to injury when you keep seeing this person justify not paying you a dime, and then you find out how their own coffers are have been overflowing for years. That's a stingy individual. That's a quite possibly a greedy one as well, but certainly stingy. And that's why one of the reasons I put that post so much to write and enjoy, because it still talks about the spirit of the two greatest commandments. And when you add insults to injury like that, always looking for a way to be stingy and not give somebody money or currency, or at least the recognition, attribution, and so that without slander, so that people can get, you see, at least somebody to help, unless, again, some of these persons, remember I told you, since if they're functioning among being hateful, then they were always in the frame of mind, as some of you have stated, that they were going to keep moving the goalposts, until somebody like you, who still got the recognition that you need, whether it's from men and God, to address this in the proper manner to stop the bullying, to stop the abuse. And if the person, as you may look at, is mentally ill, well, in my experience, it does it does no good really in a lot of ways to keep doing these so-called reasonable, sane disciplines upon someone who's really kind of like insanely functioning. So you can beat on them, you can abuse them, you can do all this other stuff. And for some of these persons, guess what? The reason why their mind got to this state that is in the first place is because they were already conditioned and abused to be that way, and sometimes even from a young age. So you're not really doing anything different, even though you can see these persons crying and stuff like that. No, if something is not really functioning up there, you're not going to get still the so-called response that you want from them unless you really just want them to die. Because sometimes what you're thinking is even maybe their pride. It still could be a lot of other stuff going on upstairs. And because of handling some other way besides the way the good teachings that Jesus said handle it, it's just all it is unnecessary torture. Unnecessary torture. And this can go on forever. So you can call them names. You can even call these different people wicked. And the point is, sometimes you can't even call somebody wicked if already they're dead spiritually in their mind in the first place. Just reference some of my podcasts where I talked about that. Take care of yourself, Perceptive Reader. I hope you enjoy the post. Take care.